This is the Scholarlynk news for 21st December 2020. The island nation's hawker culture has been officially added to Unesco's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. A 24-member international committee unanimously accepted Singapore's application to have this tradition be internationally recognized. The National Heritage Board, National Environment Agency, and the Federation of Merchants Associations worked together for 3 years to put the application together. This is Singapore's first item on the Intangible Cultural Heritage list, alongside more than 460 others from various countries. The Minister for Culture, Community and Youth said that Singapore's hawker culture is a source of pride for all Singaporeans and an integral part of their daily lives. Having hawker culture on the list means Singapore is committed to protecting and promoting it. Singapore has to submit a report every 6 years to UNESCO to show how it is safeguarding the culture and transmitting it to future generations. The authorities have been trying to attract younger people to the hawker trade through training programs and subsidies. Think about it. What makes food such an important source of pride to a country? President Jokowi has announced that he will be the first to take the COVID-19 vaccination in Indonesia. This is to build trust among Indonesians that the vaccine is safe. The vaccinations will also be made free for all citizens. A recent survey by the Health Ministry showed that only 1/3 of those hoping to be vaccinated are willing to pay for the shots. Indonesia is the 4th most populous country in the world and is currently in talks with several pharmaceutical companies to source for enough vaccines. Frontline workers fighting the pandemic, such as healthcare workers, police, and military personnel, will be the first ones to get vaccinated. Other countries which have started inoculations have given the vaccines to the elderly and vulnerable first. But Indonesia does not have the data to guarantee the vaccine's safety for the elderly and pregnant women. Indonesia has the most infections and deaths of any country in Southeast Asia. Think about it. Does Indonesia having the most deaths and infections in Southeast Asia mean that it has mismanaged the pandemic? Or is it purely statistical, as it has the largest population? The Fire and Rescue Department has 600 divers on standby until March of next year as they prepare for bad weather and floods. The divers are certified for underwater rescue situations. They will be placed around the country with an emphasis on 200 flooding hotspots. The hotspots were identified based on the previous experience of the Fire and Rescue Department and forecasts by the Meteorological Department. In addition, there are 14,500 volunteers available to assist and 24 fishermen who are familiar with the local hydrology and topography in Kelantan and Terengganu, 2 areas that are prone to flooding. Preparations for the oncoming floods this year take place within the ongoing pandemic. Boats and lorries used for evacuations will have marked seats to ensure social distancing. Personnel and victims they rescue will all be given personal protective equipment and be subject to regular temperature screening. Think about it. How much more difficult will rescuers' work be with the COVID-19 pandemic going on? How will they be able to manage manpower shortages if anyone gets infected during rescue operations? A healthcare worker in Alaska had a severe allergic reaction to Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine. She had no history of allergies, but had a reaction 10 minutes after receiving the vaccine. She experienced a rash over her face and torso, shortness of breath, and an elevated heart rate. She was treated with epinephrine and steroids and has since recovered after an overnight stay in the intensive care unit of the hospital. The incident has raised concerns about the vaccine's side effects. Experts said the woman's symptoms were potentially life-threatening, and others who received the vaccine may need to be carefully monitored for adverse reactions. The symptoms were similar to that of 2 healthcare workers in Britain who also received the Pfizer vaccine. The 2, however, had a history of severe allergies. Healthcare providers are warned not to give the vaccine to anyone who has a history of severe allergic reactions. Think about it. How will this incident affect the take-up rate of the vaccine? Do you think many people will now have doubts about the vaccine, or will they brush it off as an outlier event? President Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory message to all participants of the Chang'e 5 mission, the country's most sophisticated and challenging space mission, has brought back the first lunar samples in more than 40 years. Chang'e 5's re-entry capsule touched down on its preset landing site in Inner Mongolia, marking the successful end of the lunar mission with its cargo of rocks and soil from the moon. The capsule has been transported to Beijing, where it will be opened by experts at the China Academy of Space and Technology. The sealed samples will be transferred to specially designed laboratories for analysis, experiments, and tests, while a portion will be put on public display. The successful mission has helped to foster the country's knowledge, technology, and talent pool for future manned lunar missions and deep space expeditions. The United States NASA also sent its congratulations to China. Think about it. Just as the International Space Station is a result of the combined work of many nations, do you think China will work with other countries' space programs for a manned mission to the moon, or would it prefer to work on it alone? This brings us to the end of today's edition of the news. Please remember to subscribe and click on the bell icon to receive notifications of our new videos. As always, this is the Scholarlynk team saying goodbye and wishing you a wonderful rest of the day.